everyone, Joshua Hanlon here, and today I'm with Micah at the Bricks and Minifig store here in Lomita, California. We're going to be taking a look at some of the really cool rare retired products spanning several decades here at the store. So there's a big 1-year anniversary event going on, so there might be a little more noise than usual in the background, but there's lots of exciting stuff happening here. We're going to start off with this set right here, one of my favorite recent sets from LEGO. It's retired now. For people who haven't built this set, what can you tell us about the Pirates of Barracuda Bay set right here and kind of some of the features of this one?
Well, for sure, this is a set that was based off a classic, and now this set's currently retired, but it's for sure a newer style of the pieces. You can actually rebuild it into the completed ship. There's all kinds of different pins and stuff to maneuver it.
So like the front section here will like come off, and I don't want to break anything, so I'm going to be careful, but you can see like the middle section and then the back, and you can take all this together. For anyone who didn't get a chance to build this set when it was available from LEGO, it's just really incredible how versatile and the playability of this. And of course you have the full cloth sails here as well. And then you got to get your playable cannons. Pull back there with all the cannonballs in there.
Yeah, one of my favorite ones is the beds at the bottom of the ship with the little bucket. You know, they got to use the restroom, so.
And there's even, you can see inside here if we open this up a little bit as well. Get the door open here, there we go. So kind of a more modern version of some of the pirate sets there. And then we go a little older. We've got the late 90s here with a couple of these adventure sets.
Yes, with some classic Johnny Thunder. So right here in the front of the statue, you can push that out.
The mummy pops out.
The mummy pops out. Then we have a little hidden compartment as well where
the obelisk topples over.
Yes.
You can hide some gems or gold back in there. I like the camera on the side here of the car. Always got to be recording. And then this opens up, and you can see the mummy skeleton inside there.
Yeah.
And then these bricks are always super fun with the printed sort of hieroglyphics and Egyptian writing on there. And then the Baron von Baron and the villains in the front.
And of course that nice classic 1997 base plate.
Exactly. Look at those nice stairs coming up.
Yes, very well printed. And off to the next Johnny Thunder set.
And this one has a few play features. I know one of them, the mummy, spins around here. And then I believe this can tip forward if you slide that out of the way.
And the spear
and now
drop.
he's now impaled on the spear.
And of course you get your classic vehicles with the, little windshield with a little crack. Got some nice tools right there in the little entryway.
And again, the mummy, such a fantastic figure.
Yes, it is.
Going even older now, back to the 1980s and switching genres, we've got some of the older city stuff, again with these printed base plates, which are a little basic looking now, but have some of the kind of number stalls on them. Then just a variety of things like trucks, your forklift, helicopter, and there's some interiors back here as well.
Yes, the classic cargo center. Then of course we have the classic forklift with the
the spring-loaded, yeah.
Spring-loaded ones, not like the new one with the rubber band.
And there's playability with all these doors opening, the garage doors.
And the lights spin as well too, to shine.
And tying into that is the train set here, and you've got the crossing gates. They can go up and down. And then just the kind of basic train house here. But then I really like these signs, especially this one with the train print on there. I think is really nice.
And we also don't get any pieces like this anymore, like some weighted pieces. So that's pretty a cool addition from back then. Same with the classic train tracks, as you see. We get the new modern ones now, which does not look at as classic as these guys. So
exactly.
But, yeah, it's fun ones. And next up we got space.
Speaking of classics, we stick with kind of the mid-1980s here with some of the space. There's lots of great features. So this is kind of a missile shooter, so you're able to fire off the missile there. And then of course, you've got the classic white spaceman up front there. What are some of the features on this one here?
This one can open up the back right here. It's classic, of course, the cockpit as well with the yellow spaceman. And you have the little robots from back then as well. And just lovely printed aero pieces, as you can see.
One thing that is super cool about these, even though these sets are from the mid-1980s now, the pieces are in great condition and really impressive looking builds here. So You've got such a great variety in the store. I think these are a great example of the unique products that Bricks and Minifigs carries and just some of the cool stuff that you can't see in person anywhere else.
Yes, and each Bricks and Minifigs you go to is always different stuff, different minifigs, different sets, used sets. You know, you'll get your nostalgia. So
Yeah.
definitely.
So in a second, we're gonna take a look at some custom builds you have on display in the store as well. But for people who want to kind of see more about the store online, what's the best place to keep up with what you guys are doing here?
Instagram for sure at Bam Lomita. So Bam Lomita, you can follow us. We post our new sets that we get in, our specials and all that. And come on by, then say what's up to the Bam fam and Micah's Bricks.
Perfect. Now we'll take a look at some custom builds.
Yes, let's go take a look.
We're inside the party room now, and I'm with Kai. We're going to be taking a look at a variety of really cool custom builds here. So he's got the first couple, and then we'll work through with some other talented builders. Tell us what you've brought out here today.
So the first ones are Five Nights at Freddy's, the animatronics from the video game, and then they made a movie of it. I'm a huge horror movie fan, so it was only right that kids come into the store and it's a little mix of horror because I'm a huge horror movie fan. So it was only fair that I did this and keep it in the store. It gets a lot of attraction. Also, one of my favorite movies is American Psycho. Christian Bale right here, and it shows a little batarang, a little reference right there. But yeah, this is one of my favorite movies, so it was only fair I put it all up here. You have little Paul Allen right here. But yeah.
So you've got two builds at very different scales and very different styles, even different color schemes. So just a big variety here with these two. Talk about some of the differences in building these kind of larger scale characters versus kind of a small diorama.
So these ones, it's just a lot of trial and error. You know, I started pretty small with just like a little mini lander, and then you just see what works. So sometimes their head is too heavy, so you have to figure out what's going to keep their neck strong enough to the rest of their body. So it's a lot of trial and error. It's sitting at the bulk table and seeing what works, what new pieces I can find. You just never know what's gonna work or not, and what's gonna stand. Something with this, it's very hard because little pieces are hard to make for bigger items, especially like couches. So you just got to see what fits and what doesn't. Sometimes you got to cheat it. But yeah.
Yeah. Great work. Thank you.
Thank you.
So our next builder here has TV scenes. So if you want to introduce yourself and then tell us what you have.
Hey, I'm John, and I'm one half of the designer of this. Jody Sweeten, Stephanie Tanner herself, is the other half of the design team. We recently submitted the Full House living room as a design for Lego Ideas. So, yeah, it's the Full House living room, the 1987 version. So we have a lot of Easter eggs in here, stuff that you might recognize from the show and stuff that you might recognize from outside the show. We have a little VHS as a tribute to America's Funniest Home Videos with Bob Saget. You might notice Aladdin's lamp in the back there. That might you might remember it from the Disney episode. A giant Mr. Woodchuck. We're going to be updating this as we go along. We did not realize how big it would be when we were finished, so we will be working on it. But yeah, we've been it's been a few days, but we've been pushing this for hopefully the next 10,000 votes. You could vote for it at tinyurl.com/Lego Full House.
There you go. So if you're a fan of the show or just a Lego fan or just like cool builds, you can check this out on Ideas and support this. But take us through some of the kind of outside elements like the car and some of what we have over here.
Yeah, so one of the great things about Lego is originally we had just built the living room set, and it was rejected at first because they wanted more builds for the chance that this does make it and get approved. They want more builds for the buyer, for the customer. So we ended up adding the car and the front of the house, which is a classic, like just visual for the set, which is the staircase, the red doors, which unfortunately is not a Lego piece. They would hopefully be able to create one for this set. The window, it's just something that really reminds you of that show, the opening, the house. And yeah, then you get inside and you get the whole play set.
Yeah, perfect. So everyone make sure you check that out and vote for that on Ideas. Great work. Thank you for bringing this out today.
Thank you, guys.
We've got our next build up here with this M-Tron mech. So if you want to introduce yourself and take us through the build.
Sure. My name is Matt, _Zeus on Instagram. So I've been, for the last, I guess, couple of months trying to do a few mechs for some of the newer classic space figures. I did an Ice Planet. I did one for the Spacewalk astronaut. This is my latest one. It started, I saw someone doing Exoforce. They did the big red one. I don't remember the name off my hand. It was Retro Bricks on YouTube. And this really cool technique where they used a couple of ball joints and some of the hinge plates to get this like V shape, which to me kind of made sense for something that's meant to be lifting, for it to be a little bit bulkier in the shoulders. I also had this idea. I really wanted to include the actual lift arm piece from the minifigure in the lower leg, just because I like the look of it, the shaping, but it's too small for something to this scale. So there's some really kind of interesting like geometry going on the inside there, just to get everything to work and all hold together.
Yeah, very cool. It's always neat to see kind of inside and the internal structure of a build like this, especially a mech that's posable. How strong is this in terms of it? Does this stay together pretty well as you're moving this around?
I've dropped it a couple of times, and other than, you know, limbs falling off, just because it's all mixel joints, it pretty much holds together.
Yeah, fantastic work. Thank you. Moving to the build behind that now, we've got a little bricks and minifigs kind of meta build going on here. So we've got Micah back with us. What does this build depict?
All right, so this is from my, I wanted to build a mini lander myself after my recent trip to Legoland for my birthday. So I finally got the chance since they had the instructions over there at the theme park. And, you know, I needed to give him a little environment. And Kai also made his mini lander as well. He fell a little bit. So we needed to give him a little environment. And, you know, I decided to make the register where I work. So this is the front register. Someone's getting a Lego set or a little payment. And our iPad with the register drawer with the money in it. And here is our case that with no sets yet, but our minifigs. But that is our case along our register that you can find plenty of minifigs and used sets in at BAM Lomita.
Is this something you hope to expand on and create kind of more of the store and cases in this scale?
That would be a cool plan. Yeah, that, you know, make some shelves and, you know, who knows, eventually the whole store in Miniland form. Who knows? And yeah, feel free to check out also my other mocks that I have on Micah's Bricks on Instagram, since this is the only one I had at the store, fortunately.
Thanks for showing it off here. Next we go Microscale. So if you want to tell us your name and then take us through the streets of the city here.
Hi, I'm Jin. I'm Funny Taco Bunny on Instagram. This is my model of downtown LA built at the 1/650 scale. I was heavily inspired by builders like Rocco Butlier and Spencer Rescala, and so I really loved the architecture of their models and how they did it. So I really wanted to make my own. So the US Bank Tower here is very similar to Rocco Butlier's model. Obviously, I made my own. I added the bars with the rubber bands on it to make my own. I redesigned the base a little bit. And then I wanted to expand it more because LA is my hometown. So I expanded it to the library down here, and then all the way down to the 611 Tower and the Citigroup Center, which is, you know, some people might know it from GTA as like the Maze Bank Tower and Goldman Sachs, or yeah. So just a lot of details that I like to include, and I've built a lot more on my Instagram that you can check out digitally because I'm a little too broke to afford all of my models so far, so yeah.
What are some of the keys you find building at Microscale and kind of realistically depicting these buildings that obviously you can see in real life, so you've got to make sure you get them reasonably accurate because people are going to be very familiar with these?
I think the most important part is getting the silhouette right, because that is what's most recognizable of mini buildings. The finer details at micro scales, you're going to lose a little bit of it, obviously gain some at larger scales. But if you get the silhouette right, it's almost immediately recognizable as a building. And you know, I want to use different techniques for windows. Like a lot of buildings you might see have like the grills as the 1x2 grills as the windows, which I think is a fantastic piece, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it can be a little boring. And so sometimes you want to include like inverted bricks. And I think just knowing what pieces for what type of windows is really helpful.
How do you approach things like landscaping and the road network at this scale?
As I said, I was very inspired by Rocco Butlier and Spencer Rescala, so I looked at how they did it, and then I tried to translate that best to how to my own personal skills. Like, I'll look at how the road falls and try to replicate that by seeing, oh, this goes like down a single floor of a building, so that's probably around 13 feet, so that's about 2 plates down. And I'll try to see how the trees work and how the ground forms and just try to see how I can fit it to the scale.
That's fantastic work. And this is on display here at the Bricks and Minifig store, right? So people come in and kind of recognize some of these local landmarks.
Yeah, I've gotten that a lot. I had one that was particularly memorable. It was like this little 6-year-old kid was like, "Oh my God, it's GTA," which I was a little concerned about. But yeah, I'll get that a lot. I have a lot of people here that will be like, "This is amazing. I'd love to see your other stuff and like what other things you can do in LA." Like I've built Manhattan Beach Pier in LA, so I really love being able to connect with the local audience here and with a model of their city.
Keep up the great work. Thank you so much. And we'll move on to our final build and builder here. So if you'd like to introduce yourself and then tell us what this is.
Hi, I'm Allison Gale Bricks on Instagram. And I brought food because I like food. I like stay up all night watching Star Trek and like building things, like things that I wish I can eat because I'm vegan. So, you know, butter, eggs, monster cake. Because it's
dreams.
normal. Yeah. And yeah, I think it's fun. It's like, I actually keep Lego food in my real fridge at home. This is just my take-out mini fridge to like show people. But I find that like the fridge is a really good display area. It keeps the dog hair out when you close the door. And like the lighting, when you open it, it's like, ah. It's like the perfect way to display Lego.
So this is such a unique idea. What is the logistics of kind of bringing this around to display, and how often do you do a display like this?
I take it with me to like local places like Pasadena or like Long Beach is probably as far as I'll go with this.
Okay.
Like just shove the Lego into bins and hope that nothing breaks, and if it does, it's fine because it's Lego. You can always fix it.
So if you can, maybe just start down here in the bottom row and kind of make our way up, and you can point out some of what you've depicted here.
Sure. So we start at the door. We have mustard, ketchup, Coke, orange juice. Go up a little bit. You got your butter and your eggs, different flavors. And then you go up a little bit more, and then you have some popsicles. And then the coolest thing of all is me, because it's in a freezer, so she's cold. And then you come over. There's some ice cream, some meats. Again, I'm vegan, so I don't really know how meats look or taste, but that's as close as I'll get to them. And then if you go down, we have a monster cake, also like a mimicky thingamajig, some chocolate-covered strawberries, some bread. There's a cinnamon roll in the back. Go down a level, we got some cupcakes, lasagna. The lasagna I made because I was doing like Star Wars themed things, and I was like, Amidal lasagna. So that's where that came from. Some chocolate chip cookies, apples, pears, and then you go lower, and you got some brick separator carrots, mushrooms, and corn.
It seems like brick separators are a bit of a theme with you here.
I love brick separators. I make so much things. I'm actually making some chandeliers and like a bead curtain at home, but I've made like birds and hands. It comes in handy. But I love them. They're like the tool that like everyone gets in a set, but like no one builds enough with them. And I'm like, they're so perfect. So like, why not?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing off your build here today. And for everyone watching, we'll have info for the Bricks and Minifig store website in the description of this video, where you can see tons of amazing Lego products and tons of awesome Lego builds on display. So make sure you come and check them out. Thank you to everyone who showed off their builds here today.